What's going on, guys? Orms Form coming at you with another video. And this is the aftermath video, guys. Sorry, I had to have a little bit of day to decompress on this one. Watched some football yesterday. Kind of sitting there in the background. Wasn't paying too much attention to the football games that were going on during the day and a little bit later on in the evening, the two football games there. But this is the aftermath for the NFC Divisional round, round two. Washington Commanders at Detroit Lions Ford Field, hosting playoff game. Again, Commanders win this one 45-31. Now, huge upset by the Commanders. Rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels and the Commanders offense was just too much for that Lions defense. The Lions offense put up some points and yards, but turnovers ended up hurting the Detroit Lions in that football game and just having a kind of a cardboard, duct tape type of defense, we couldn't prevail. It was just too much, And I did a podcast about this football game. I do one at my friend's house, Greg Schooley, for the 519, called Sly and Orem, Sly and Orem. It's a Lions forum that we do on Facebook. Come check it out. Just if you click on my page, Mark Orem, you can kind of see that, and you can subscribe to that page. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and you can see our podcast that we do weekly. And I don't remember if I said this during my own podcast on YouTube or my own videos, whatever. I was talking about this football game, obviously with the Commanders, and I was very confident that we were going to win this football game. Extremely confident. And I was a little bit nervous about that. I wasn't even nervous about the football game itself. I really wasn't. That kind of bothered me. And my co-host with me, Derek Sylvester, we call him Sly. He kind of felt the same way. He was like, I don't really got I got no butterflies. I think we're going to win this game. That alone makes me a little bit, I'm kind of thinking maybe I'm a little bit too confident. And we had a really good podcast. We were laughing, having a good time, doing shots, drinking beers on the podcast for about 45 minutes. It was actually a long one. It was a good show. And then I ended up going to a bar and watching it at my friend's bar that he owns, the 519 Beer House. Greg Schooley, who owns that bar too as well. And a lot of Lions fans were just very cool, confident. There wasn't too many guys that were too nervous. And I was like, man, maybe we're not being cocky. We're not being cocky. We're just pretty confident that we're going to win this football game because, to be honest, a lot of people wanted this matchup. I wanted this matchup or the Green Bay Packers. That's who I wanted. Going into the second round. That was who I wished we would have faced. Lo and behold, look what happened. I'm not saying that fans have anything to do with how football players play, and I'm not saying that, but that part of me just did not have any fear of this football game. Jayden Daniels, I thought, there was a possibility that they could really put up 30 points on us. They could do some damage to us. It could happen. They ended up putting 45 on us. With ease. Now, we can point fingers at who to blame, and I'll have a couple finger pointings during this video. There might even be some cussing, some swearing. There might be, and I don't do that a lot of my videos. I try not to. It's not good for YouTube. It's not really good for YouTube. I hope nobody gets offended if an F-bomb comes out or I say something. That's good. Hopefully you're not offended. I'm not mad anymore about the game. I wasn't even really mad about the game. I was more disappointed. It was like one of those games where you're like, when you find out, like just for instance, say you got a 12-year-old son or something. Just say you got a kid. And he's like 13, 12, 13. And he throws a rock through a window. So like one of those. And you're like, man, what are you doing, bro? I'm not mad at you, but I'm disappointed. Like I'm disappointed in you. That's how I kind of felt. I kind of felt like a dad. Like I'm just like, how do you lose to the Commanders? Like No disrespect to the Commanders. It's a great football team. They are. They're a good football team. But you shouldn't be losing to them. And we did. Kudos to that team, the Commanders. I hope they beat the Eagles. I really do. I got a couple buddies. I got one buddy who's a Commanders fan, one of my best friends. My brother-in-law is a Commanders fan. My stepfather, who I've never met, rest in peace, was a Commanders fan as well, Redskins fan. Back in the day, hat, jacket, had it all. So I'm kind of pulling for those guys right now. I don't necessarily care too much, but I'd like to see the Commanders go all the way now. Why not? And I can't stand the Eagles. I can't really stand the Eagles. If you guys know me and you know my channel, I am a Giants fan, number 2. That's my number 2 team. So NFC East, 2 NFC East teams are in it. But I've never really been a hater of the Commanders. Like, I can't stand the Cowboys. I can't stand the Eagles, obviously. But the Commanders, they've never really been, like, under my skin. Like, fans have never been bad. They got bad over the past couple weeks, though. They did get bad over the past week and a half, whatever. Obviously, because we were playing them. But they kind of came out of nowhere, but I'm not surprised. They're in the second round. Now they're crowing like roosters. Now they can't stop. Because I was on a lot of social media stuff, and I was running my mouth saying there's no way we're going to lose this football game. I wasn't being too bad. I was just like, we're not losing. Like, we're just not going to lose. Never said that your team is garbage or you guys don't stand a chance or anything like that. Maybe a couple times I might have said that. I take that back. But I never was disrespectful in a way where I said the team was a bad team. I always thought the Commanders were a good team this year. Jayden Daniels is dynamic. Got a great wide receiver. I like Zach Ertz. Dan Quinn, I think, is a good head coach. The defense played well in the pass department, anyways. Most of the year. That quarterback though is special. But I'm kind of ranting and raving right now. Let's talk about this football game, like I kind of do for the rest of the season. Season's over. But let's talk about the injuries and actives, whatever it was. Commanders, they had right guard Sam Cosmi did get hurt, torn ACL. He's done for the rest of the playoffs. So we'll see what's going on with him next year. Wide receiver Alameda Zacchaeus, he had a groin injury. I don't remember if he even returned back, but they were pretty. They had a couple guys go down. The Lions, cornerback, we lost Amik Robertson with a broken arm, elbow, whatever it was, immediately. And the second play of the game. Now, when I seen that, I was just like, wow. Like, and I hate being the guy with the injury bug thing, but this guy was the one that was kind of turning on. He was play well 2 weeks ago against Justin Jefferson, and he was going to be on Terry McLaurin. He made actually tackling Terry McLaurin on that play, broke his arm. So who knows what would have happened? I don't think just one guy losing, but we were playing guys like Kindle Vildor came back into the game. We were playing a guy named Maurice Norris at one point. If you don't know who Maurice Norris is, nobody does. Nobody does. He was an undrafted rookie free agent that I don't remember where we took him from. We might have even let him go a couple times during training camp and during the season, only just to come back on our practice squad. He played some safety. He got absolutely destroyed. The Commanders kind of targeted him, which I don't blame. He had a really bad PFF grading. The PFF isn't the gospel to me, but he did have a low grading, and he was getting beat pretty bad. And I didn't expect him to do anything good. Even Kirby Joseph had a terrible game. Kirby Joseph was one of our best DBs. He's one of the best defensive back safeties in the NFL. Actually, he was first team All Pro. He got kind of looked over on the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is a joke with 33% fan voting. Didn't get enough from the players, coaches, whatever. But I knew he was going to be an All-Pro. Kirby Joseph, even he had a bad game. Even he had a terrible game. But we lost to Amik Robertson. I'm gonna through this video, you're gonna see me ranting and raving. I guarantee it. It's gonna be like Squirrel. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like Squirrel. I'm gonna go off the rails. Possibly. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but there's good chance. But yeah, we lost to Meek Robinson, broken arm, elbow. Second play of the game. Second play of the fucking game. So, all right. Second play of the game. Then quarterback Jared Goff got concussed while he was in the tent for a possible concussion. He threw a pick six. And he tried to get into the play. No idea why he even tried to get into the play, but he kind of ran over, and he got absolutely lit up by linebacker Frankie Louvu. Lit up. Hit him high. Hit him at the chin. It should have been a call. It wasn't a call. Not going to bitch about it, but he did hit him right in the chin. You could see his helmet literally going up. And you can't go high on any type of player in the NFL like that. You can't hit him in the helmet. And a lot of people were saying, well, he's giving himself up. He's not a quarterback anymore. That's not true. You can't hit anybody. It doesn't matter. You can't hit anybody high like that. So it doesn't matter if he's a quarterback or if he was a running back or a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. You can't hit him high. And he got hit in the chin. He had to go into the tent. Teddy Bridgewater came out, threw one or two passes. He completed one or two passes for very minimal yards. We ended up scoring on that drive. And I think Goff was on the sideline still. So Bridgewater was in there for a few plays. But yeah, he ended up getting a concussion. He ended up coming back. And I don't really think he was the same because he was friggin' terrible. He was terrible, Jared Goff. And then safety, Ifeatu Melifonwu ended up getting a hamstring injury. I think that was the reason why Maurice Norris ended up coming into this game. Melifonwu, he missed a big play on the Terry McLaurin touchdown too. He just forgot how to tackle, which I thought was crazy. I didn't understand. I'm pretty sure it was Melifonwu. It was Melifonwu, or it sure as hell wasn't Branch. I'm pretty sure it was Melifonwu. Just kind of slid off Terry McLaurin. McLaurin went for that long touchdown. But yeah, we had a couple guys that were out. You know, David Montgomery came back in his football game, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. I told everybody that however many carries Gibbs gets, Montgomery will get half of those. And I nailed that, which I nailed it because Montgomery had 7 carries and Gibbs had 14. And we'll talk about that too. With the Ben Johnson shit. Oh, Ben Johnson's a Chicago Bear head coach, by the way. If you don't know, I'm sure you do know, but he is a Chicago Bear head coach. I'd wish him luck, but you're a Bears head coach, so I can't do it. I can't do it. And I don't have an issue with Ben Johnson like a lot of Lions fans do. A lot of Lions fans think that he was terrible on Saturday night, and I don't. Was there a couple calls that maybe you were like, oh, but that happens every week with every OC, and it happens with us too. Ben Johnson was phenomenal here as an OC. You brainiacs. Honestly, I'm talking to a lot of you Lions fans. You're so casual, it doesn't make any sense to me. See, this is where I'm ranting. But we'll try to talk about it, and I'm sure we will get to it again. But let's get to the stats. Commanders offense. Quarterback, rookie Jayden Daniels was 22 for 31, 299 yards, 1 yard short of 300, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 0 sacks. He got sacked this many times. 0. And there wasn't a lot of pressure on him either. 70% completion percentage. He was great. He was poised. He doesn't act like a rookie. This kid is special. Rushing the ball. That was the one thing I thought that we were really good at on the defense, even with this cardboard defense that we have. I thought we were going to do better. Running back Brian Robinson had 15 carries for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns, 5.1 yards a carry. Brian Robinson's not that good. He's good. I like Brian Robinson. I had him on actually a couple fantasy teams. It's a guy that I'm not really going to play every week, but come on, man. 2 touchdowns? Whatever. And then quarterback rookie Jayden Daniels was 16 carries for 51. I thought we did an okay job in containing him. Running the football, 16 carries, that's a lot. You know what I mean? 3.2 yards a carry. I thought they were kind of on him a little bit. Every time he tried to bounce to the outside, you'd see a line or two kind of like pushing him out. He'd get his yards a little bit here and there, but I thought we did a pretty good job with him running the football. And then running back Austin Eckler was 6 carries for 47 yards, 7.8 yards a carry. And then running back Jeremy McNichols was four carries for 8 yards and a touchdown, two yards a carry. He got himself a short yard touchdown. So, we got gashed on the ground as well. We did. And then receiving wise, wide receiver Diami Brown. That was a guy that I said in either this video or the one that I do in my own hometown. The Sly and Orm show that I do. I said, look out for that kid because that kid played well against Tampa Bay last week. Don't sleep on this wide receiver core. I know everybody's like, it's a mid-core. Yeah, sure. McLaurin's a stud, I think. Diami Brown hasn't done much. It's kind of one of those, it's kind of like the McLaurin and Ertz show, really, if you're going to go talk about aerial attack. But Diami Brown had 6 catches for 98 yards. He did have a fumble and 16.3 yards a catch on 8 targets. So he was a big part of the offense 2 weeks in a row now for the Commanders. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin had 4 catches, 87 yards, a touchdown, 21.8 yards a catch, 6 targets as well. Running back Austin Eckler, 4 catches for 41 yards, 10.3 yards a catch, 4 targets. Tight end Zach Ertz was 5 catches for 28 yards and a touchdown, 5.6 yards a catch on 5 targets. Caught all of his targets. So through the air, too, Jayden Daniels was nice. And the guys that I was worried the most, though, McLaurin and Ertz. And I said, don't sleep on Diami Brown. He's been kind of playing better lately. He had 98 yards. So it was all my nightmares came true in that football game. All of them did. Defensively, safety Jeremy Chin, who I like, 12 tackles, pass deflection, and an interception. Linebacker Frankie Louvu, 9 tackles, 1 fumble recovery. Linebacker Bobby Wagner had 8 tackles. Cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Cornerback rookie Mike Sanistril, Michigan baby, 5 tackles, 2 pass deflections, PBUs, breakups, whatever you want to call them. 2 interceptions as well. Cornerback Noah Igbenogbe, Henny. I don't know if I'm destroying his name. I'm probably butchering the hell out of it, and I should be better, but I'm just not. 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Defensive end Dorrance Armstrong, who was a nightmare for Graham Glasgow and for the Decker as well. He had 3 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, forced fumble, and he had 2 sacks. Defensive end Dante Fowler Jr., 3 tackles, tackle for loss, and a quarterback hit. Safety Quan Martin, 3 tackles, 1 pass deflection, 1 pick, and it was a pick 6 for a big time touchdown with a horrific throw by Jared Goff, by the way. Horrific. And then people telling me on social media that Tim Patrick wasn't open on that play. He was open. He's 6'4", and Goff threw it like he was 7'7". So he was open. He was open. Some guy on social media, a Lions fan, told me that Jared Goff's not used to making those throws. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, what? I go, what do you mean he's not used to making those throws? He's made that throw 100,000 times. Oh, he's too pressed. He's too too much pressure on the offense because, the defense is so bad. I'm like, well, he's a 70 point, like he's $100 billion quarterback. I don't want to hear about pressure from these guys, man, from this fan base. I don't want to hear that he's pressured. It's his job. That's not the thing. That's not the thing, anyways. It's not like he was nervous. I'm sure those guys get. Hey, man, if you played sports, you're nervous for the first literally 30 seconds, and then it just goes all away. Now, professional sports might be a little bit different because these guys get hammered. These guys get hammered by social media, hammered by fans, hammered by the media, hammered by their coaches. It's different. It's a little bit different. You can be shown the door a little bit easier in the professional world, and you're just paid gobs and gobs of money. But he's been in the league for 9-10 years, whatever it's been. I'm sure it's over with there. That he's like, I'm sure he was nervous for 30 seconds of that football game, and then it just goes away. And it does go away. God. Hey, how's it going? Defensive tackle, Jonathan Allen, 1 tackle, 2 quarterback hits. Defensive tackle, Sheldon Day, 1 quarterback hit. Deron Payne, another DT, 1 quarterback hit. He was hit 7 times. Goff, 5 pass breakups by that defense alone in Washington. You know, Goff was hit a little bit. He was hit. He was pressured. You know, I don't think it was one of those ones where he was just completely taken over by a defense. You know, he just had a horrific day. I just think his day was just terrible. And then their kicker, Zane Gonzalez, was 1 for 2 on field goals with a long of 47. He hit all 6 of his extra points. Punter Tressway, 1 punt for 48 yards. 1. Lions offense now. Jared Goff, quarterback, 23 for 40, 313 yards, 1 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a fumble lost. Sacked 2 times, 57.5% completion percentage. He was awful. Now, I'm not blaming only him, but he takes a majority of this loss. Because not only did he have a very bad football game, and he knows he did, but he put our defense, which is bad, and I told everybody that this defense was getting ready to implode at one point. The month of December was very bad for this team. Very bad. They were giving up an average of 32 points a game on average in December. They had that nice game versus the Vikings, though, where they only gave up 9 points somehow. Played out of their minds. And then they imploded versus the Commanders. And it was the one thing I was a little bit nervous about. And another thing I was told by Lions fans, what's the point in being concerned about something that you can't fix? Then why would I do this? You know what I mean? Like why would people put out articles? Why would professional journalists like John Macaroon, those type of guys that I follow, Detroit Lions lowdown, lockdown, whatever, lowdown, forget, I'm rattled right now. Why would they do their job then if they're not just going to talk? It's okay to talk about your concerns. And it was the one thing that I was talking about to this fan base, and articles were out about it, that a lot of people were concerned about this defense. When was it going to implode? You don't have a pass rush. We don't, because it didn't exist against the Commanders. And we'll talk about that too. Didn't exist. Because we lost every single one of our good pass rushers. You know, we brought in Zadarius Smith, who, hey man, I commend him. He came in, he had like 4 or 5 sacks in the regular season. He disappeared in this Commanders game. Disappeared. Now, I don't expect him to be a one-man wrecking crew because that's not him. He's not. He's 32 years old, Zadarius Smith, 33 years old. That's who he is now. Still a good football player, but it's a guy that I didn't expect to be Hutchinson. Everyone was like, well, we got our Hutch. No. We got a guy that can fill in, hopefully get 4 or 5 sacks, ended up with, I think, 4 on the season, and hopefully he does well in the playoffs. He had that one big, I don't think, well, it was the only game we played, actually, in Washington. So he disappeared. He didn't do nothing that game, which I thought was very, very bizarre. But I really did. I really thought, and we'll get to it, man, but I'm going I'm going with the stats too still. I just talked about Goff. 4 different guys threw the football actually in this game. David Montgomery had a pass, 1 for 1, 20 yards. Quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, 1 for 1, 3 yards. And then J-Mo, wide receiver, was 0 for 1 and 1 interception. I might as well get this J-Mo shit out of the way too. People being mad at Ben Johnson for that play. Let me tell you a little bit something about football, okay? Let me tell you a little bit something about football, and it was a trick play. J-Mo coming around the edge, whatever he did, flicked the ball to him. He was going to throw the ball, and he did throw the ball. It was a trick play. Nobody is forcing Jameson Williams to throw that football, by the way. Nobody is. He doesn't have to throw it. So everybody that gets mad at Ben Johnson saying, hey, man, we were down 10 points. Why is he doing that? That's probably why, because he has never really done it. Was it risky? Sure. Down 10 points, it's a big swing. It's a big momentum swing. But J-Mo doesn't have to throw it. The first thing you're taught, if you're doing a trick play like that, and you're playing football, and you say you're the guy that doesn't throw the ball, you're a wide receiver, you're a tight end, whoever you are throwing the ball, that offensive coordinator is telling you, okay? He's telling you, don't force the fucking throw. Don't force it. You don't have to. You don't have to throw it. If you don't like what you see, don't throw it. And J-Mo shouldn't have thrown it. Panicked or whatever he did. I saw that he was yelling at Antoine Randall, and they were yelling at each other. There was stuff going on when they were coming off the field. I don't think it escalated much, but you could see J-Mo was very hot. The coach that he was yelling, I think it was Antoine Randall. He was getting in his face too a little bit. I'm pretty sure it de-escalated because I didn't hear much about it since. But he doesn't have to throw that football. He doesn't have to. You can tuck it, run it, throw it out of bounds, go down, eat the play, do whatever. You don't have to throw it. So people that are getting mad at Ben Johnson for calling that play, you're a casual. You are a casual because you don't have to throw the ball. I get it. It was a risky play. It was, hey, if he's and there's no way he was told you got to throw that ball, J-Mo. You got to throw it because that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. He had options. He made a bad decision, Jameson Williams. I'm not going to crucify him for it, but he made a bad decision. He shouldn't have thrown it. That's it. Rushing the ball. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries for 105 yards. Wow, that just fell. I'm still here. What's going on, guys? That just fell down. But Jahmyr Gibbs, 14, 105, 2 touchdowns, 7.5 yards a carry. Superstar. And a lot of people are complaining about only 14 yards a carry. I kind of understand that. But they didn't get away from it because he did get 11 targets through the air and caught like 6 balls. So he had 20 touches. So it's not like he was ignored. But I do understand. I think he should have had a little more carries as well. But we kept getting down by like 10 points, 13, whatever it was, all the time. I kind of understand why they were throwing a little bit more. But he wasn't ignored. The short passing game is an extension of the running game. If you don't know, that's just the way it is. Okay, guys? So it's not like he was ignored. And I'm not trying to be a Ben Johnson apologist here because it kind of sounds like I am. But he wasn't completely ignored, Gibbs. 20 touches. You know what I mean? And then J-Mo had 1 carry for 61 yards and a touchdown. 61-yard average, obviously. And phenomenal play call, man. He wasn't even touched. Touchdown. And then running back David Montgomery had 7 catches for 28 yards. I didn't know he had 7 catches. Oh, no, rushes. I'm sorry. This is rush. Jahmyr Gibbs rush. Yeah, because I was getting a little confused there. Yeah, he had 7 rushes for 28 yards, 4 yards a carry, which is nice. You can tell that Montgomery, he didn't look like he was rusty or anything like that. Maybe a tad. He broke a couple tackles, though. I thought he did pretty good. But yeah, it's the Gibbs show, and he knows it. Now, quarterback Jared Goff, he had one rush for 7 yards as well too. Got himself a first down, 7 yards a pop there for the 1 carry. So I thought we ran the ball well, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's that, man. He's a superstar. Jahmyr Gibbs is a legitimate superstar. He will be RB1 next year, and it won't be. If Montgomery comes back, which I think he is, I think Montgomery's coming back, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like 15 carries, 20 carries to 10. That's how it's going to be. Now, it's obvious. Now, receiving the football for the Lions, wide receiver Amon St. Ball had 8 catches for 137 yards. It was a quiet 137 yards, but he got that. 17.1 yards a catch, 10 targets. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, 6 catches, 70 yards, 11.7 yards a catch, 11 targets, like I said, so not ignored. Tight end Sam Laporta, 6 catches, 51 yards, and a miraculous, phenomenal one-handed touchdown catch. 8.5 yards a catch, 7 targets. It was a beautiful, beautiful catch. And then wide receiver, Khalif Raymond, 3 catches for 37 yards, 12.3 yards a catch, 3 targets. Wide receiver, Tim Patrick, 1 catch for 22 yards, 22 yards a pop, obviously, 4 targets. Wide receiver, Jameson Williams, only had 1 catch for 19 yards. He was targeted 4 times, 19 yards a catch. He's got to be targeted more, JMO. He was targeted more. He was open twice deep. Goff should have hit him. Overthrew him on one, then underthrew him on an interception. Defensively, linebacker Jack Campbell had 14 tackles. Linebacker Alex Anzalone had 13 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Safety Brian Branch, 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, forced fumble. Safety Kirby Joseph, 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Defensive tackle Levi Muzarike, 3 tackles, 1 quarterback hit. Defensive end Josh Pascal, 3 tackles, 1 quarterback hit. Defensive end Al Quana Muhammad, 1 tackle for loss. Cornerback Kendall Vildor had 1 tackle. Did have a really nice pass deflect on a 3rd down, I believe it was. Defensive end Zadarius Smith only had 1 pass block. That's it. He was awful. Kicker Jake Bates, 1 for 1, 28-yard long, 4 for 4 in extra points. Punter Jack Fox, 1 for 43, 43 average, obviously. Now we're going to talk about the game. And like I said, I've been talking about this game. Offensively, yeah, we put up almost 500 yards of offense. Yeah, we almost did, we almost put up 500 yards of offense. We scored 31 points. The running game was nice. I don't think the blocking for the O-line was too bad. I thought Glasgow was horrible, though, and I think Decker was very good. Overall, I thought we were okay, though. But, Goff was just terrible. He was horrific in this football game. He should get a lot of the blame. He should. He should get a lot of the blame. And I'm not calling for his head. I'm not saying we need to change quarterbacks, but it is what it is. He was terrible. Okay, guys? He was. He knows he was bad. He admitted he was bad. That's it. End of story. There's no Goff. Like, I'm not trying to, come at him too much, man, but he was bad. When we needed him the most, he was horrific. You can't cough the ball over 4 times. He had 3 picks and a fumble. Fumble loss. Can't happen. And it did. So you can't have that, man. And the defense, man, it was a cardboard defense. Guys, there's a defense that we're just not, not like, most of the majority of the year. There's a defense that we could not handle. Or, you know what I mean? It was a defense that got handled. Let's just say it that way. Losing, I'm not trying to make the excuse train, but it is what it is. When you lose 22 guys on IR and 14 or 15 of them, even more, are on the defensive side of the ball, you're just waiting for the implosion. And it happened at the wrong time, guys. It did. Nobody showed up to play defense. Nobody did. Nobody. No picks, no sacks. Campbell at 14 tackles, Anzalone 13. Branch did his thing. He had a forced fumble, Branch, but I don't think we got it back. It was just one of those games, guys. It just sucks. Christian Mahogany played well offensively too. I meant to say that, sorry. But defensively, we were just awful. You're not going to win football games like that, guys. You're not. You're not going to win football games coughing the ball over 5 times altogether because of the JMO pick. You're not going to win games like that. You're just not. And you can't have your quarterback giving up that, and then your defense giving up that. You're putting your defense in a bad spot. Big disappointment, guys. Very disappointment. Huge upset. But up next, man, nothing going on. I'm going to be hopefully getting into some college football, guys. I appreciate the year. It was a great season. I'm not going away. I'll be around. I'm going to try to do videos more, but, we're done. NFL playoffs are done for the Detroit Lions, and it sucks. Let's focus on the draft. Let's focus on what's coming up. We got the 28th overall pick. Let's see what we can do with that. I want D-line or O-line because I think we need to upgrade. And that's that, guys. I really appreciate you guys this year. It was a great season. All for kind of nothing. No 15 wins, man. You don't even win one playoff game. It sucks. We advanced to the second round because we got the 1 seed. Disappointing year, guys. Disappointing. We'll be back. We just lost our offensive coordinator to the Bears. Am I going to do a video on that? Maybe. I'm not too sure yet. Maybe a reaction video. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Detroit Lions, grit. Thanks for the season. It was fantastic. I ain't going nowhere, though. I'll be around. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. That big bell up top, bang, bang. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it, guys. Detroit Lions, grit. Let's go. Boom. Troy for everybody, guys.